Superman teaser trailer is out and DC fans are loving James Gunn's version of Man of Steel. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. James Gunn's Superman has dropped its first teaser trailer, and it has received a positive response from the world over. Gunn's film is undoubtedly one of the most anticipated films of 2025. From the teaser, it appears that Gunn has checked every box to make DC fandom happy. David Corenswet will play this iteration of Superman. Rachel Brosnahan plays Lois Lane, while Nicholas Hoult appears as the classic Superman villain Lex Luthor. Other confirmed cast members of the film include Skylar Gisondo as Jimmy Olsen, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, Maria Gabriela de Faria as the engineer, Eddie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific, Terrence Rosemore as Otis, Anthony Carrigan as Metamorpho, and Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl. Fans saw a Man of Steel who is more relatable and spreads optimism around. Particularly, one scene in the trailer where David Corenswet's character swoops in to save a girl from crashing debris is something classic Superman does. Superman stands as hope for the people as the chant, "Superman," gets louder and louder during the run of the teaser. It is further highlighted in the teaser when a young boy raises a flag with the S symbol and whispers Superman's name during a time of crisis. Gunn himself mentioned the inspiration from comic books during an interview. He shared with comicbook.com, "There's a lot of stuff from the comic books above and beyond anything else, All-Star Superman, that influenced me more than anything. The comic-accurate costumes, the settings, and even the plethora of characters and Easter eggs that flashed through the scenes look all promising. We even have Krypto the Superdog in the movie." Even before the teaser trailer, James Gunn gave us hints that comics would play a huge part in his Superman film. More recent superhero film directors have received the wrath of the audience for steering away from the source material for the sake of originality. However, Gunn plans to reel in the comic book fandom by giving them what they exactly want. This Superman is also going to be kissy-kissy as we see a couple of smooches between David Corenswet's Clark Kent and Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane. It appears that Superman doesn't need to hide his identity from Lois. Adding to the color tone, fans didn't know they needed to hear a twist on John Williams' iconic Superman theme from the 70s to get in the spirit. The moody theme perfectly balances out the cheery colors, giving fans a satisfactory experience from the teaser. The first thing that hits us right from the moment Superman crash lands at the beginning of the trailer is the bright colors of the teaser. James Gunn nailed the character and the world's tone with these colors. The colorful filter also helps bring hope and optimism into the film. The color choice also gives the character a classic look, which many fans point out to be a prime attraction in this trailer. In an attempt to modernize Superman, Snyder gave a more serious approach to Henry Cavill's Superman. While it appealed to a certain section of fans, Cavill's version wasn't the superhero that kids grew up with. The blue hue color tone of the movie itself gave off a sense of darkness. Fans also complained that Cavill's Superman couldn't spread the hope and optimism that the character stood for. Another hot take is that Snyder's movie, while visually unique, wasn't ideal for franchise building due to its more self-contained themes. However, Gunn's vision for the Superman universe feels expansive, even reminding us of Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man as a foundation for a broader franchise. Given the manner in which things ended at DCU, James Gunn's Superman is expected to face obvious comparisons with Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. However, many felt that Gunn understands Superman better than Snyder. The Guardians of the Galaxy director understands that the DC superhero needs to be relatable and not a dark, gritty portrayal. Before Henry Cavill's Man of Steel, fans were privy to live-action Superman through actor Christopher Reeve. Fans would generally like to forget about the Brandon Routh version, though not due to any fault on the actor's part. Donnerverse had two great movies that made even the non-readers of comics into a huge Superman film. And then there were the two horrible films that were made purely for money and ironically didn't make much. Gunn shared about the influences from Donner's films via comicbook.com. It has already been mentioned that the teaser carries a classic look to it and that John Williams' music works perfectly for it. If these two factors don't scream James Gunn's inspiration for the film, we don't know what will. Throughout the teaser, fans can see the influence of Richard Donner's Superman films. Even the visual text in between scenes resembles the font that the 1978 film used. I think that obviously, the original Donner movie influenced me, but theirs. Suicide Squad director David Ayer had stated that his version of the film will be released by James Gunn when the time is right for the DCU. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. James Gunn co-created the DCU alongside Peter Safran as we know it. He also tried to eliminate any and every influence or connection that his cinematic universe would have had with Zack Snyder's DCU. To clarify certain things, David Ayer was the director of the 2016 film Suicide Squad starring Will Smith, Margot Robbie, Jared Leto, and others. However, upon release, the film was a commercial as well as a critical failure. However, some connections are simply too strong to be broken. One such connection that can be a part of the DCU is David Ayer's Suicide Squad. More specifically, the unreleased Suicide Squad Ayer cut. Well, Zack Snyder's Justice League was released and fans found hope that David Ayer's The Ayer cut would also be released soon. However, it has been almost 9 years since the release and we don't have any updates about it. James Gunn even promised David Ayer back in 2023 that his film would be released when the time is right, but when is the right time? According to Ayer, the executives forced him to cut several sections while Jared Leto's involvement as Joker was almost removed entirely. David Ayer stated that if the Ayer cut, his version of the 2016 film, was ever released, fans would truly appreciate it. In a very heartfelt message, Ayer stated that James Gunn had promised him that when the time was right, he would eventually release the Ayer cut sooner or later, which the director shared via X. All I know is my unseen film plays much better than the studio release. The interest in my cut being shown seems real and organic. And Gunn told me it would have its time to be shared. He absolutely deserves to launch his DC universe without more drama about old projects. Well, it was the year 2023 when David Ayer was once again talking about Suicide Squad and his Ayer cut. One fan asked him about why he continued to talk about the Ayer cut despite the internet losing interest in it. Maybe it is a tad bit late to release the Ayer cut now, or maybe James Gunn is simply holding it for a better time when his version of the DCU is ready for another bunch of villains teaming up together. Till then, David Ayer and his tiger might just roam around for a while. Suicide Squad, the studio version, currently stands at a rating of 5.9/10 on IMDb and a low of 26% on Rotten Tomatoes. The film is available too. In a way, I'm chained to this thing. I'm riding a tiger here and navigating this situation the best I can. Life is a very strange journey. And although David Ayer is riding on a tiger, it seems that the leash is with Mr. James Gunn and he doesn't seem to be letting this tiger roam in the wild. It has been 2 years since Ayer wrote about James Gunn, but there have been no updates about the same. Lois Lane was pregnant in Justice League, and Zack Snyder was planning for him to become the next Batman. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Zack Snyder's Justice League was the foundation of his DCU. It was supposed to be the root of his universe, setting up